And now, good morning, Facebook Live. We are going to get started literally in about 30 seconds. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is another Thursday, and I am so happy to be here with you again. This is Tammy Polk, the host of the Virtuous and Distinguished Business Owner Motivational Broadcast. I'm excited to be here with you today because I want to get into the very first topic of the 21 attributes that I talked about on my last show in kind of a rapid fire format. I want to get into this first one because it is one that has become such an issue, whether it is business related, whether it is in the ministry, whether it's in the workplace, or just life in general. I say all of the time that the values of virtue and faith are often forgotten in today's world. But before I do that, I may have someone who is listening or watching me for the first time. My name is Tammy Polk. I am the Virtuous Businesswoman, Motivational Makeover Mentor. Yes, I know that is a mouthful. But basically, what I do is I help women to unleash the remarkable business owner within to become a woman of lasting influence and a virtuous and distinguished business owner, because yes, I will work with men of conquest, is one who is ready to do four things: to rise above their frustration, to reclaim their lives and talents, to evolve into the person who is free to transform those talents into a treasure, which is a God-honoring business for themselves while maintaining their sanity and a strong family base, and to do it now because time waits for no one. So that's me in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and dive into attribute number one: purpose to be virtuous. Now, when you think of virtue, you might think of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and that kind of thing. However, what virtue really is a sense of moral excellence, meaning that you make a conscious decision to do what's right. And you're like, okay, what exactly does that mean? Because especially in the business world, we live by the mantra that nice guys finish last. So there are a few things that I want to point out to you here today. And the first of which is having, exhibiting, and maintaining both personal and professional integrity. One question I ask people a lot is, how many crooks do you know? Not only in the business world, but many of us are surrounded by people who are just plain flat out dishonest. And we may have been accused of being that way. Not being a person of your word, being unfair, being uncaring, being uncooperative, untrustworthy, and things like that will make people not want to deal with you, not only in business, but in life in general as well. Because if people can't trust you, they are not going to confide in you. They are not going to want to build with you. They're not going to want to purchase from you. And it doesn't matter what you try to do or what you try to say. That person will always be looking at you sideways because they're like, she or he, they ain't right. They're not right at all. And that's why I don't deal with them. So that's one thing that you have to be very careful and very mindful of, because things like that, like integrity and loyalty, can cost you relationships in any realm. It doesn't matter what it is. If somebody feels like you don't have integrity, they are not going to touch you with a 97-foot pole. But I digress. So the second thing is being truthful, fair, and firm in all business, as I say in my book, but in all dealings. One thing you don't want to be known as is that somebody that screws people over, that takes advantage of people, that knowingly overcharges people, that undercuts people, misuse people, or mistreat people that you're in any type of partnership with. How many times have you heard someone say, oh, well, he or she, they claim to be a Christian, but they did this or they did that? That's a problem. That means that you're not being truthful, fair, and firm. And truthful and fair and firm really are non-negotiables in any relationship. And firmness is the one that people seem to struggle with the most. And they struggle with being firm the most because they want to accommodate. They want to be liked. They have that validation seeking thing within them. So they won't stand on the morals and the standards that they have because they're too scared to lose. I'm going to talk about that in just, well, actually now. Because my next thing is under purpose to be virtuous is to do what is right, even if it means losing client, money, or relationships. There are going to be times where standing on the side of right is the only thing that you can and should do. Yes, we hate to lose money. Yes, we hate to lose business. Yes, we hate to lose those families, friendships, or business relationships. However, if you are constantly involving yourself in things that you know that you aren't right, you're not firm, you're not speaking up about it, you're not distancing yourself from it, then that's going to be a problem. I was reading a meme on Facebook the other day. It says you will be criticized, judged, ridiculed, and copied, but keep going. And that stuck with me. I actually made it the wallpaper on my phone because when you choose to take that stand for right and you're willing to lose those things because you know that you can sleep at night, knowing that you made the right decision, it's okay because there is going to be something that comes along later that you can grasp, that you can get a hold of, and that can propel you forward simply because you chose to do the right things. There is a such thing as a good consequence. It may be a bad situation, but good things can come out of it because you stood for what was right. And in today's world, those people are laughed at, mocked, ridiculed, kicked out, anything that you can think of. And yes, it is disheartening and you will be mad, but at the end of the day, your conscience and your spirit is clear because you know that you made the right decision. And they know that you made the right decision too. They just don't want to admit that. Next thing, being guided by the principles of God's word, even in business. I put that in my outline and even in both of my books on purpose. And it is because one thing that I've found out through my studies is that a lot of the rules and mores and policies that we have in the world today are scripturally based in some type of way. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on that and they will refute me on that, and that is your right. However, that doesn't stop it from being true. As I was working on this project, I came across 2 Corinthians 6:14, which talks about um, being unequally yoked with unbelievers. Everybody wants to attribute that to marriage and family, but that applies to any relationship, and you have to be careful with who you link up with, which is exactly the next point that I wanted to talk about. You have to be careful with who you have around you. If the people that you have around you are always miserable, always looking for a pity party, allowing you to wallow in self pity, or trying to encourage you to do things that both you and them know aren't right. Find out about these people that say that they want to be around you. How do they line up with what you're trying to do and what you want out of your life? Because there are some people that are energy suckers, they are vision stealers, they are dream killers, and you have to be careful with who you link yourself up with, because they can actually pull you away from who it is you're meant to be, what it is you're meant to do, and who it is that you are meant to serve. And part of doing that is having discernment and good judgment. If any opportunity that's presented to you, any relationship that's presented to you, have you looking kind of sideways, it may be that something really is wrong. Not that you are a pessimist, so to speak, and just can't see the good in anything that comes at you. You need to be able to vet out people, places, and things, because they may be coming up to openly or privately destroy you, your business, your vision, excuse me, guys, anything else that you have going on, because there will be people who are so jealous or envious or dead set against you that they'll look for anything that they can use to take you out. So you have to develop that spirit of discernment and good judgment. In my book, I used the example of King Solomon. When God asked him what he wanted, he didn't ask for riches, he didn't ask for long life, he didn't ask for any of that. He basically said, God, I need to know what I'm doing with all of these folks that I'm the king over. He says, I need to be able to see and understand what it is that I need to be doing. I need to know who's for me. I need to know who's against me. I need to know if I'm about to fall off. That's all a part of discernment and a good judgment. And when you have that discernment and that good judgment working, you won't have a problem with my next point of knowing your value. There's a popular saying on Facebook. It says, know your worth and add text. That is not a bad concept. And the thing is, when you have those people around you, those energy suckers, those dream stealers, those dream drainers, it will make you feel and see less of yourself. And you have to fight really hard in order to get that back after it is pulled out of you. Because people will see your value and see how valuable you are and how valuable you are to the things that you're involved in, and they will want that so bad that they will literally start to pull it out of you, to the point to where they are growing and feeding and becoming successful off of your value, and you're feeling depleted, despondent, and tired because they've literally done things to pull your value out of you and into them. It is possible. Now I'm going to kind of go over to the business side of this for just a minute, about pricing things fairly but competitively. Whether you have a product-based business or a service-based business, stop with the price gouging. I do understand that people's time and talent and products are valuable, but if you know that you are pricing your stuff to undercut somebody, you need to quit. Seriously. One major retailer, and I'm not going to say who it is, but that was the way that they started out. They drove all of the mom and pop stores around them out of business simply by pricing their items lower. And now they're one of the biggest retailers in the English speaking world. That's not something that you want to be known for. But also, even in your business or your pricing, or even if it's just something that you have going to just make a little extra change, don't undervalue yourself or diminish your value for somebody else. If somebody tells you that it's too expensive, 6 times out of 10, it's because they're looking for something or nothing, a handout or a discount. Don't fall for that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever help people out when there's a genuine need, but there is a difference between helping somebody who has a genuine need and giving away your value. Your talent, your time, your products, your services are worth it. One of the affirmations that I say to myself when I get upset, when somebody comes at me over pricing, I say to myself, I am worth every dime I charge. I know the message that God put in me to share, and I refuse to diminish my value for someone who doesn't see that. So you definitely have to be careful. And the third and fourth parts of those would be: know what you can and can't do, and don't misrepresent yourself. The worst thing you can possibly do is tell somebody that you do something that you really don't know how to do, because that person is depending on you to do that thing. And when you, after a span of time, tell them that you can't do it or you don't know how to do it, you've wasted that person's time, and you could possibly have put them in a worse situation because they were depending on you, and now they have to scramble to find somebody who's able to do it. And my last point, as I've got to speed up here, But know that in whatever you do, that you have something rare and precious to offer, even in the wake of competition. Just because somebody's doing the same thing that you do does not mean that they do the same thing that you do. You may not use the same materials, you may not use the same resources, you may not sell your stuff the same way, you may not price your stuff the same way. God put it in you for a reason, and even in the wake of competition, there is still a reason for it, because even though somebody may do it like you, they cannot do it the way that you can. Point blank. So that is the first of the 21 attributes, purpose to be virtuous. The next one that we're going to do is talking about your spouse's place in business. You will definitely want to tune in for that one, as I'm slated to have a guest, which I'll be making more announcements about that, but I dare not end my show without thanking the people that made this possible. Um, our founder, Kayla Paget, love you. Thank you so, so much for believing in me and my mission and my vision through this show. Ewing Moving and Storage, thank you for everything that you do. And yes, Nicole Gates, I do call your name out at the end of every show. Thank you so much for your love, your encouragement, and your support. So until next time, God bless and Godspeed in all that you do. And remember that in everything you do, purpose to be virtuous. I will see you and hear you next time.